A couple years ago, I noticed that a bunch of things were out on the curb, and one of the items there was just this box of photographs. And there's a photograph on top, there wasn't even a lid, and it caught my eye. And they were all matted. The sun's going down, and it started to rain too, and I thought, if I don't get these, they're gonna get wrecked. So it was not a lot of thought went into it. I was just like, grabbed them, walked half a block home, looked at them all. So I started looking into it to see who this guy was, and couldn't find anything. I eventually did find an obituary for him, for his wife. There was a little girl that kept popping up in some of the pictures. She's in about a dozen of them. And on the back of one of them it said Alicia. I gave her a call and I told her that I had a box of her father's photographs, and there was silence, and then I heard her crying. And then we talked for about 2 hours on the phone, and I asked her, could I keep these for a while, and that I'd like to give them a little more honor.
I am Alicia Dale, but former Alicia Belsanti, which my father, James Belsanti, is why I'm here. He was a unique character, full of life, very artistic, very smart, very family orientated. Yeah, he was the most unique person who did so many things, and he was a pleasure to have as my dad.
Oh my God. You got the whole stash of them. That's my old childhood right there.
These photographs have been part of my life for only 4 years. This has been most of her life.
When I was younger, I would help him, or more or less disrupt him, in the darkroom that he built in our home in Chicago. We have basements, so part of the basement was a wine cellar, and part of the basement was the darkroom that he built. And I would spend my own alone time in there as a teenager, continuing to do photography. He showed me how to take pictures, showed me how to develop them, and showed me how to print them. And then he was already part of the Blue Island Camera Club, and I joined when I was 10.
He was really, a brick and mortar of the club. I think he was president for quite a while. He was by far the most experienced photographer of the group, and master of black and white photography for sure. He never looked at himself as being, so superior to somebody else. And instead of that, he would just help and lead people, if they asked, or he would suggest, but he never, held himself above. He was always trying to help people with the photography. I think you mentioned they had a wine cellar. It must have been in the basement, but I believe it was finished. I know when you go downstairs, he had all his pictures displayed on the walls. I do remember one thing, too, that he would always, when we started getting into color, he'd always get somebody in a red coat to stand in here photograph. That was one of the things we learned from Jim Belsanti. I remember that exactly. Yeah, it's always, we always think about that. It's sad when, somebody passes on and, what happens to their photograph. It's nice to see it being revived and somebody else looking at it like that. It's pretty special. The more I think about it, the more I remember him.
This is my dad with our granddaughter, who is 10 now. This is when he was in his 60s, like early 70s maybe, right before he got Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. I think that's why he stopped taking pictures, is because his hands are so shaky, he couldn't take them anymore.
Whatever we do, it doesn't have to be photographs, but like our stuff pretty much is just like photos in the rain. Even though I never met him, I feel like I know him, and it was cool to cross paths with him and just share with people this guy, and just kind of give more honor and respect than his final time here just being put out in the trash. I think everybody can relate to that.
I don't know, it was better going with them or seeing the pictures once we developed them or watching them in the camera club, you know, pop up. He got lots of awards though, but he didn't do it for the awards, he just liked doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Just like his winemaking, just like his jardiniere, just like everything he did.
So anyway, we're gonna take a look at what she has, the slides and the photographs, and I don't know, put them on exhibit maybe, you know, and just give it like a little more honor.
James Belsanti was clearly a photographer of exteriors. There's very little that's lit. He uses natural lighting and wonderful angles.
I was under the impression there were a bunch of different photographers. So, I don't know, most photographers you see, and artists for that matter, usually stick to one subject matter or one type of photography. He just sort of does it all, which is really impressive.
He seems to like taking pictures, candid pictures, just life as it is.
Capturing a lot of candid moments of life. It does a very good job and kind of just puts me back, I guess, in that place. I guess a nostalgic type thing.
It kind of just reminds me of being a kid. Yeah, it kind of just evoked that memory of childhood for me.
These are just simple things, but the way that he captures them just makes them look so much dynamic and complicated, but they're really just simple things.
Great framing, he has a great sense of framing. In black and white, he can't be beaten, I think. It is almost abstract, but you want to know more. It grabs you.
It's just a really, to me, a really compelling shot. Like, what is the story here? Like, the whole story could be built around this image.
Just the way the rain, the fresh fallen rain, makes all the colors hyper intense. And just like the cool atmosphere, I can almost hear the rainfall, even though clearly it stopped raining by this point.
And that's what a good photographer is, somebody who makes you remember an image. And I thought this was a terrific exhibition. I'm sorry he died not known and not famous. He deserved to be. Thanks.
Make art. Make art, and if there's art in the trash, pick it up. And just give it some respect. And just maybe learn from it. Yeah.